Hey friend, welcome back to Holistic Moms. So I know we have all these stressors coming at us, all these external stressors. But if you've been around here long enough, you know that one of the biggest stressors is what's going on in our mind. And one of the things that I know has affected me and our guest today is our mindset on food. And so if you have ever been on the roller coaster of weight loss, then this first part of this episode is for you. Dr. Jessie Hehmeyer is the physician founder of Well Empowered, where she guides people in overcoming weight struggles, digestive distress, acne, and hormonal chaos using data-driven natural medicine. She believes your body wants to heal and created Well Empowered with one mission: providing people with the solutions and resolutions they need to thrive physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Through marrying root cause science with heart-centered healing, Dr. H educates her clients on what's at the source of their symptoms and guides them in a customized journey towards sustainable, elevated, and elevating health. Whether working on one-on-one or with groups, she partners in producing the kind of transformative results that don't just improve health, they change lives. Get ready for this amazing, practical, relatable conversation with Dr. Jessie. Let's go. Hey mama, are you overwhelmed by your full, blessed life? Do you feel stuck in the messy, mundane middle? Then I'm so glad you're here to take a breath. Hey, I'm Shan Wright, RN, holistic wellness coach, and a mom to four that went from perfectionism, control, and lots of anxiety to intentionally living through simple solutions and so much peace. If you are done with the stressed out life, hot mess express type of motherhood, then heat up that coffee again and let's live holistically well in the middle. Let's go. Okay, I'm excited to share another guest today on Holistic Moms. I have Dr. Jessie with me. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Shanna. It's great to be here with you and your community.
First, we would like to learn about your family.
Yeah, well, I have a very modern family. So my husband is over 20 years older than I am. His first wife passed away, sadly, in 2006. And I am a very proud grandma at the age of 48. So we have two grandchildren. I have two stepkids. My stepson, Chris Jr., he and his wife are in New York right now, living in New York. And then my stepdaughter, Catherine, she and her husband, Rob, are with our two grandkids in Boston. And we spend a lot of time together. Usually we spend like 3 times a year in Boston, and then we're together here in the Chicagoland area, usually for another full week, a couple, maybe 2 to 3 more times. So we really do get a lot of special time together. And I'm grateful to have grandkids who call me GJ, Grandma Jessie. And then beyond that, there's, I have 3 brothers who we're a 10-minute walk from one brother, and sister-in-law and our 3 nieces. And, my other brothers and their families aren't far away either. So family is really very central to my heart and my being.
Awesome. I love that answer. Yeah, like you said, modern family, you're a young grandma, but I love GJ. That's so cute. And we're also Midwest. We're just down 3 hours from you. So you're close.
Yes.
Okay. And so because we like to learn new ways to lower our stress levels, we would like to know from you, what are 2 things in your current season of life that are making your life less stressful?
One is really joyfully being with the little people in my life. And I give that qualifier, right? Because we can all get caught up in the thing that needs to get done and forget about the play. Mm-hmm. So actually engaging in play with the little people in my life, that is very much soul food and stress reducing. Last night, I stopped over at my brother's house for a 10-minute play session. And it was just like the perfect way to reset after the workday.
Yeah.
On. So play, I think, is really important. I'm a big fan of creating and honoring bookends of the day. So starting your day in a way that really you find nourishes you and gives you access to pause throughout the day, like to be present. Yeah. And that can look a lot of different ways, right? That could look like reading your favorite passage from the Bible. That could look like reading a favorite quote. That could look like just spending 2 minutes, right? It doesn't need to be a big, huge time commitment. Breathing deeply or in prayer, whatever you really find speaks to you. And then at the end of the day, doing something else that also gives you some time to reflect, pause, and acknowledge the wonder of this life.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I ask this question every interview and always without fail. One of the answers always has to do with the way you start your day and end your day.
Yes.
And I like that we keep getting reminded of that every time. And then the play thing, that was so good because, as moms, as most of the listeners are, we are around our kids a lot. Unless you're a full-time working mom. And I know if you are a full-time working mom, usually you really cherish that playtime. And so you have a different mindset on it. But if you're a part-time working mom, or if you work 12-hour shifts and then you have those days off, sometimes you're around your kids so much that you forget how life-giving the playtime is and how it is, like you said, a reset. It doesn't have to be long. It just really does recalibrate our mindset into joy and gratitude.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, last night, that quick visit, we sang a silly song together. That was like, the highlight of the visit is singing a silly song. So like you said, it can just be, it can be a small, brief little blip, and it's such soul food.
Yeah. And I love that you made time for that. Time is precious. And we like to say we don't have any time and we don't have any extra time. That's for sure. And our schedules are cram packed and we're just running from one thing to the next. And it's like, but you took 10 minutes and you invested it into those little people that, like, your presence being there for that 10 minutes, to them, it probably felt like an hour. Like, kids have no concept of time. But it's like 10 minutes. Like, what, that was nothing in the grand scheme of your day, but it actually was so important.
Yeah, no. And that's so well said. As I walked away from their house, I thought, like, nothing and everything, right, was really kind of what I thought. It's like 10 minutes of my day, like, that's blink your eye, right? And disproportionate for the joy experience, is awesome.
So good. So good. All right. Well, before we jump into your expertise, which I'm really excited to hear about, but before that, I'm also excited to hear about your story. We just love to share stories here. We know we all have a story that can impact anyone. And we never know what people's stories are until they tell us. So we're excited to hear where you came from and why you're doing what you're doing today. Hey, sweet caregiver, I have a quick question for you. Are you running on empty and not sure if it's burnout? Are you so exhausted, fatigued, and don't even have time to wonder if you're in burnout? Or maybe you know you're in burnout, but you can't get out. For me, I didn't know. I questioned that, but same thing. I just didn't have time to figure it out. So I created a fun, free quiz called Am I in Burnout? It's short, eye-opening, and it'll give you the personalized next steps to move from survival mode into peaceful, purposeful living. You don't have to guess anymore. You don't have to wonder. You'll know exactly where you stand on the burnout spectrum and how to get out of it. And I'm going to be there right along the way with you. Take the quiz today at theshanwright.com/quiz. Go discover if you're in burnout or you're headed there fast. Take 5 minutes so you can start living in your peace. Again, that's www.theshanwright.com/quiz.
Yeah. Well, so as you shared, right, so I practice data-driven functional medicine, also you might call it data-driven natural medicine. And so for me, the journey to do what I do, which is really, Shan, like what I was put here on this earth to do, like I'm so grateful for it. For me, that my journey to this expression of my work began really in my teens and my 20s. And it began with my own struggle around my health. And for me, it was at least at that point in time, the big thing was about my weight, right? I grew up dancing. And so for any of you who grew up dancing, you probably get that ding, ding, ding in your head also, right? Time spent in front of the mirror, to the extent that we do when we're dancers is maybe not such a healthy thing for how we relate to our bodies and things like that. And that was true for me. And so I spent a long time struggling with that, right? Riding what I like to call the weight loss roller coaster. in living in what I now see as the inherited paradigm around weight in our body and food. And that inherited paradigm is what I would call the all or nothing paradigm. And it's defined by overindulgence and deprivation, and just jumping back and forth between the two. The cycles might last years, or the cycles might last weeks or months, different for different people, and probably different throughout the period of challenge. But that overindulgence and deprivation, what I've come to see is it's really born of self-aggression, right? And so for myself, that really came to life when I was in my mid-20s, and I'd been struggling, with my weight and feeling good in my body for over a decade at that point. And there were a few different aha moments. And one key aha moment I remember, Shan, I was standing in my apartment in Lincoln Park in Chicago. And I was standing there and I was holding this glass that kind of had like some sludge in it, sludgy glass situation. And then, I had my keys in my other hand, and I hear this like, and that's my stomach growling, right? And my stomach is growling because this sludge-filled glass, this was, like the master cleanse. I don't know if you ever encountered the master cleanse along the way.
I've done cleanses. I don't know about that one.
This is one with like, there's cayenne pepper and maple syrup and lemon juice and, like all kinds of shenanigans. And been doing this thing for like 2 days or something like this. And, my keys were in my hands. So this master cleanse on one hand, keys in my hand, stomach growling. The keys are in my hand because I'm like, I'm going to get a McFlurry because that's the solution to this stomach growling, right? So I had at that moment the embodiment of all or nothing, right? Deprivation, master cleanse, McFlurry, overindulgence. Not that you should never have a McFlurry, but maybe not the solution for hunger, right?
Yeah.
Right? So it was really, I just got in the moment that this paradigm I'd inherited was broken, right? Like it just wasn't working. And most importantly, what I came to see was that my struggle in this area of my life was interfering with my capacity to fully experience the love in my life and fully contribute to others in the way that I knew was really important to me to do. Because I was in my head struggling with this area of my life. And so in that moment, I really drew a line in the sand. As I drew that line, a few things happened. I surrendered. I asked the divine for guidance in my journey and also made a promise that if I was guided in my journey, I would make my life about guiding others. And I really got that this would be my way ahead would be one of cultivating self-love. And I also got this wasn't going to be a week-long endeavor or a month-long endeavor or even a year-long endeavor. And so I really slowed myself down and started to get curious about the science behind my body and my metabolism and my hunger and my satiety, and also began to get curious about how I could cultivate that self-love and compassion, knowing that I wasn't going to ever be perfect. I was guided by God in my journey. In my own living of my promise, I went back to school. I got multiple graduate degrees, became an IFM certified practitioner so that I could be tooled up, because different bodies are different. The science part of it, there are going to be different answers for different people. And so it was really important to me to be able to go out there and not say, hey, this works because it worked for me.
Right.
Right. And so being able to bring the science and then also the heart, which is guiding people and stepping into this whole new relationship.
Yeah.
One that I would call mastering your middle ground, that not too tight, not too loose, where you honor all that you are in your health journey.
Yeah, that's beautiful. A few things. When you say you inherited the all or nothing paradigm.
Yeah.
Do you mean it was what you were taught? It was what was like kind of nurtured in your life was this way of living?
In our society, yes. In our home, no.
Okay.
So I will say I am so grateful. First of all, like my mom is, she's so gorgeous. And it could have gone a totally different way, Shan, but my mom has never said anything but loving, kind words and
Yeah.
how to look about me. She never put anything on me. She really, of all of the ways one could be about food with their children, honestly, I don't think she could have done a better job. And so I think about the fact that I struggled, certainly wasn't her doing.
Yeah.
And she had an approach of let's nourish our bodies with nutrient dense foods, and sometimes we have treats. That's pretty middle ground,
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful for that. But we live in a world, and we're exposed to the diet culture.
Yeah.
We're exposed to, the whole 30 mentality that really is, deprivation over indulgence, hot potato,
Yeah. For sure.
inspiring, so to speak. Mm-hmm.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. It's what we're surrounded by, even if, I mean, it's like anything in life growing up. Your parents say one thing and you could listen to them and believe them, or you can listen to what the world around you is saying. And so we have these mixed messages all the time. It's such a blessing that you did have a mom that, did it in your eyes like the right way. But it's hard to protect your child from everything in life. And our kids nowadays have whole new challenges and it's a different world. But I know when we were growing up, it was a lot of just diet culture out there. Like the new fad diet was always coming out. And it was like, have you tried this one? No, I should, like, it was a game or something. Like, oh no, I need to try that one. I haven't tried it yet. And it's
right.
Wait, why are we talking about this in high school and college? Like, this is not what we need to be doing and looking at our bodies this way, but it was like a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's very true. And I would also say, like I do know a lot of people, moms who maybe weren't the way my mom was about food. I know there are a lot of them and they're just dealing with their stuff that they inherited.
Exactly.
Right. And so it's interesting when I talk to people and they'll say, it's hard for me because my mom was this way, which I'm not disavowing, right? There's something to come to terms with and to heal in that, whatever your home experience was, if you feel like it is contributing to your challenges, that we want to acknowledge that and we want to heal that. And also, I think it's helpful to acknowledge it's kind of just how it is for women until further notice, the relationship with food and body being a challenge. Whether your mom was very strict with food or whether your mom had ho-hos for breakfast for you, right? Whatever the case may be, my hope is that those of you who can relate to either of those extremes just know two things. First of all, it is healable. And second of all, you might wish there was a different reality that your mom was in, but you probably still would be struggling with food in some way, shape, or form. Even if your mom did it right.
There's a point of life where you don't blame everything on other people. You take ownership of your own thoughts, your own actions. And I feel like that's what you did in that moment when you had the keys and the what was it? The master cleanse
glass. Yeah.
What I wrote down is like, you were so honest with your struggle.
Yeah.
And you were vulnerable in that moment to say, I have this struggle, apparently. Like,
yes.
Wow. I'm realizing this is a struggle for me. And now I'm going to be honest with myself, which I think vulnerability and authenticity go hand in hand. And you have to be like that with yourself before you can do it outwardly. So you're like, you were vulnerable to say, what is going on inside of me? What am I really thinking? What am I feeling? And then you took action from there. And then we're like, okay, now I'm going to use this to help others. I'm going to put purpose to it. And it was just so beautiful. And you also said a key word was you were curious. And I think that's where that whole shame and grace thing comes in. Like, you didn't shame yourself for this struggle. You were curious about it. And there's a big difference. And in the curiosity, that is where we learn and that's where we grow and that's where we help others. But when we have the shame keeps us trapped in all of that. And we can't do anything with it. We can't put purpose to it.
Yeah, 100%. So well said. So well said. I think of shame a little bit like mold. It grows in darkness,
Yes,
right?
for sure.
So if we, we can shine light on it, whether it's within ourselves and being present with it, or sometimes even with someone else who creates sacred space to hold what's there, and really, really honors the sacredness of it.
Yeah.
That can be useful too.
Okay, that's all we have enough time for today, but you're going to want to come back to part 2 of this amazing episode with Dr. Jessie. Part 2, we are going to get deep to something that you really want to know. Get ready. The 5 most overlooked root causes of cravings. You know you have them. Let's get to the root of it. Why are they there? And let's get rid of them for good. Don't miss part 2 of this episode. Shalom, shalom.